all need to invest in ourselves. If you invest in self-care, self-love, self-compassion, don't rush into relationships. If you would want to proceed with somebody, if you find a match, if you feel like you want to go, move further with that person, allow yourself to investigate about that person. Allow yourself to know that person very well before you even take any step further. Not everybody on the dating site is an imposter. Not everybody on the dating site is a fraud. Not everybody is out there to scam you. There are some genuine people who are looking for genuine love. The school allowed me the space. It allowed me to be vulnerable. It allowed me to cry. It allowed me to journal. It allowed me to, come to in terms of my inner child. I had to literally become friends with my inner child in order for me to let go of this feeling.
Welcome to the Wisdom Inside Out podcast. Today, I am so thrilled to have one of my beautiful friends from J Shetty School. I really, really feel deep connections with her since day one. We have these coaching sessions together because it's part of our graduations. And I never forget that first experience that I had a sessions with her is that I always have these fears about social media. And, if people follow me in the past, you will know that I don't have Instagram account. I don't have all this LinkedIn account, like all this YouTube, whatever, all social medias. I'm always I always scared about technologies. And then when she asked me these challenging questions and make me realize, wow, that is actually a limiting belief. So she is an extraordinary coach in self-confidence, in relationship. What is the most remarkable about Sharma is that she been through relationship scams and it used to hit her so hard, but now she came out of it so strong, so powerful than ever. And I'm so, so grateful of our relationship, and especially how confident she is to share all this experience to raise the awareness for all of us women out there. I'm pretty sure, because I am also one of those women that is lack of self-confidence, and it's been living that life for years where you put yourself last and everything else first. And today, Sharma's going to share her whole experience regarding to a relationship scams and how we can tackle it and bring ourselves back to power and hit our highest potential, our human potential. So welcome, Sharma, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Lena. It's my pleasure, and I'm honored to be part of this journey with you. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really grateful that you invited me over to have a podcast with you, and I'm excited about this. And my journey with you through J Shetty Certification School has been nothing short of amazing. You are such a wonderful coach, a way better human being, and a mother, and you're just awesome. We connected from day one, just like you said. It was a bond. It seemed like we're like long lost sisters, sisters from another mother. That's
Yeah.
how I felt with you. It was an amazing journey connecting with you, and since day one we connected so well. I didn't even feel like I didn't know you. It was just, it's a feeling that I cannot describe. It's just so awesome that we connected on that level. And I'm so happy that, I've known you since 6 months already now. I already completed my assessment and I'm about to graduate in 2 weeks. So this journey has been so amazing. I'm so glad that our paths crossed, and here we are recording our podcast together. So I'm super excited. Yay.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I do believe in the same level of vibration energies, So you just attract to each other so easy, and speaking the same language, so beautiful. Sharma, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready as ready.
Thank you so much for that. I just wanna, before we dive into the question, I just want to ask you to introduce a little bit about yourself, and then we dive into the questions, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, my name is Salma, and I am a J Shetty certified life coach now. But before this journey, I was in hospitality management for over 14 years. I was managing hotels in different properties. I worked for Marriott's and a bunch of other properties. And then the pandemic happened, obviously, and everybody's world turned upside down, and so did mine. So the pandemic was kind of like a blessing in disguise. It kind of allowed me to reevaluate my career, reevaluate my life, and which took me back to now healthcare. So now I'm in healthcare. I've been working for healthcare for like over 3 years now. Both journeys have been wonderful. Both experiences were different, but both were wonderful. I've learned so much. I've grown so much, and now I'm certified life coach, which is an addition to my experiences. So all these amazing things that I have experienced in life are just a blessing. I'm very, very thankful to be able to learn so much, grow, and be so much more knowledgeable and wiser.
Yeah, I love your energy every time we have our sessions together. It's just so beautiful.
Thank you, and likewise.
Coming to the first question for me is that, as I just gonna dive in about the relationship scam because I feel it's very important to pass the message to a lot of women out there who are too scared to share about it because, coming from a lot of self-judge, self-guilt, self-shame, and knowing that you just been in love, it's to me, it's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to be ashamed about. So, can you share a little bit how do you get into it and what is the turning point where you realize, oh my God, this is a relationship scam?
Yeah, so definitely in 2017, this is when I was working for hotels. I was a very career oriented woman, doing my thing every day, waking up, very energized, positive, living my life, making the money, like living my dream. I was just having a great life, and I was so busy in my life that I never had time for dating or like getting to know people. And I didn't even feel a need for that, to be honest. I felt like I was just accomplishing my goal. Like I came here as an immigrant to America, to the United States of America, and I was just living the American dream. I wanted to accomplish myself. I wanted to make myself, strong enough and dependable enough that I never would have to depend on anybody. I just wanted to be a very independent woman, very career oriented. I was living my life, and some out of nowhere, some of my coworkers were in a similar situation. They were in relationships in the past, and unfortunately, those relationships didn't work out. So, they were just kind of like joking around, and they're like, "Hey, you're so busy working. Why don't you just go and sign up for on a dating website?" And I never believed in that kind of relationships. I always believed in natural relationships. Relationships just happened where two people meet each other face to face. They get to know each other, and then things fall along. I never believed in that in the online dating thing. But somehow these ladies convinced me to sign up. So here I was. I signed up. Going back and forth for weeks and months. I decided, okay, what the heck? Let me just give it a shot. What's gonna happen? Worst comes to worst, I will just not gonna use it anymore. I mean, I'm just not gonna be on that website anymore. I'm just gonna just disable my account. So I signed up, of course, and weeks went by, and unfortunately, one random day, I met this one person, and he was a catfish on one of the dating websites. The conversation in the beginning was very natural, and it I didn't even realize that it was just like the beginning of a web of deceits, a web of lies, and like which will end me up in a financial loss, and more than a financial loss, I literally like lost myself. My trust was broken, and this person from the beginning was just a fraud, and I did not know that. I was so new to the dating website. I did not know what was going on. I believed everything he said, and unfortunately, it so happened that the conversation that started off very, very casual and very normal, ended up to be a web of lies. And so that kind of broke me down. It literally shattered me a lot. It kind of like, it broke my trust. It broke my heart. It literally broke me down. I wasn't the same person anymore. And things just went so south that I didn't even want to believe that this was just even happening. It was just too good to be true. And the next question, the turning point was like, there were a lot of things that I couldn't believe, but my intuition was telling me something was off. But I wanted to so very much believe in love. I wanted to believe in the connection that I ignored all the red flags. you know there were a lot of inconsistent stories, stories that didn't add up, excuses for not being able to meet in person, repeated requests for like money, rep, emotional manipulation, like, and everything was just like going so quick that it didn't seem in the beginning. And because I was so like amateur in on online dating, I ignored, like, even though it didn't feel natural, I just wanted to believe that it was natural, and it was happening too soon, too quick. And so the relationship or the conversation or like the connection that seemed like had grown into like into like a bond or something turned into like seemed like it was more, the truth was more louder than the illusion, the comfort of the illusion, and so eventually it definitely didn't add up, and things just started falling apart from that point on.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being so vulnerable and share your story. Yeah. So at that time, you realize that your turning point because of, it's everything. If you will look back at the whole story, it doesn't seem like a real relationship.
There were a lot of inconsistent stories, like a lot of things that didn't add up, like, first of all, every time I approached and asked why we couldn't see each other face to face, there were a lot of excuses, and in the beginning, when you have met somebody, I didn't want to rush it either. I wanted to be as real as possible, so I didn't want to kind of like rush and say, hey, let's meet. I wanted it to kind of fall into place naturally. But as time passed by, there were excuses after excuses after excuses after excuses, and then started the manipulation of like like trying to get money involved. Yeah, so those were some of the red flags. It kind of gave me that assumption that something was off.
Well, thank you so much for that. And I'm sure, like, when you invest in something, it's for our normal ego state where we don't want to accept that this is fail, like, so sometimes we just tell ourselves some story just to keep going and hoping it's a different. But like you said, your gut instinct already been telling you otherwise, but we kind of go ahead with the ego because we don't want to fail in this relationship. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I know, like, you share, like, even me sometimes just making a little mistake in the past, I bash myself up, with this self guilt and shame, like, why you do this, why you didn't do it earlier, whatever like that. So I'm sure you will probably experience some sort of this voice, like, of guilt and shame. And can you share a little bit, like, what sort of voices come up for you, and how is it that really hurt and really impact your self-worth and self-confidence?
Yeah, so the whole experience definitely shattered me. I felt ashamed, I felt naive, I felt deeply broken. I felt like I failed myself. I kept blaming myself. I started like questioning my intelligence. I was like, how could I just like the ability to even like make decisions? Like, I was like, how did I not see that coming? Why did I ignore the red flags? Even though my intuition kept saying something was off, I ignored it. I silenced it with the hope that whatever I was thinking was not true. At the back of my head, at the back of my mind, I always wanted to believe that what I was thinking was not true. But in reality, my gut, my intuition was right. My intuition kept saying, Salma, there's something off about this person. You need to walk away. You need to run for your life. but I stayed. I silenced my intuition, and that's the biggest mistake I made. And I
Mm.
was so hard on myself. I doubted my decision making. I felt so ashamed. I felt shattered. I felt like my ability, like he literally like stole my dignity, you know, and I felt like I wasn't the same person anymore. Through this experience, this whole experience changed my life so much that I didn't even feel like I could ever trust my own decision, like my ability to make decisions for myself. I started doubting that.
Yeah, I can imagine it must be very like your the way how you view yourself, your identity was just like crushed to like zero,
Yeah,
you know,
the
like
bottom,
yeah,
exactly.
to really bottom of it. And so how do you manage to cope facing everyday life, like getting up to work, and how was your connection with your family and friends? Like I'm sure because your energy was so low at that time,
Oh
what
yeah,
has
very.
it impact your relationship around like people around you? Because you don't have much to give, really.
Exactly. It was not the greatest. It was very, very bad. The first thing that happened to me was like I shut myself down completely.
Mm.
Like I completely shut myself down. I isolated myself from everybody. I stopped doing everything that I enjoyed doing, including like I would love to go out on my days off. I would love to take a walk. I would love to go window shopping or shopping. I would love to go watch a movie with a friend or something, or I would just love to go get coffee with a friend. I completely stopped doing all the things that I was doing in the past, because I felt so ashamed. I lost my voice. I didn't even know how to like express or to like even open up a conversation and tell somebody what had happened to me. I kept everything very secretive. I did not want to tell my family even what was going on because I was so afraid that they were going to judge me. They would, judge my ability to make decisions. They would never ever trust my decision making skills. They would always think that, I'm one of the people that doesn't even know what she wants out of her life. I was so worried and so ashamed, and I felt so lonely in that moment at the very bottom of my life. I did not feel the same at all. And in that moment, somehow, after like several months, when several months went, passed by, and I was just like sitting in my room, sleeping all day, not getting out of my room at all. I would shut myself down. I completely like disconnected from all my friends, my family even. Like I wouldn't even talk to my mom. I didn't feel comfortable bringing up the topic in front of my family because I was so ashamed of how or what they would think of me. And in that moment, I just kept like being cruel. Like my inner voice was so cruel to me. My inner voice kept telling me, Salma, how could you be so stupid? How could you do this? How could you not see all these signs? And this is
Mm.
very natural, I guess, for any woman in any relationship
Mm.
or a man even. Anybody to be in a fake relationship or to be a victim of a scam. It's very natural for people to feel this way. But what I forgot to remember is that me falling in love with somebody was not something that I should be penalized for. I was looking for love, and in the midst of looking for love, I found an imposter. It wasn't my fault that the imposter had other intentions. My intentions were very pure, very genuine. I was looking for love despite all the red flags. But the other party had other intentions. And his intentions not being clear led us to a point where he broke me down. Excuse me.
It's okay, take your time. So now looking back at it, like can you help our audience to understand like what are the red flag they need to look out for, and what would you do differently like if you're looking back at that situation again?
Definitely, that's a very good question, actually. And I wish somebody had asked me all these questions when I was going through the experience. Unfortunately, I didn't have anybody on my side who would guide me or probably give me an opportunity to explore, or to, like, the awareness wasn't there at the time. To any woman, any man, anybody trying to go on a dating site to find love, to find whatever they're looking for, if your gut tells you, if your intuition says something is off, please, please believe it. Believe it. Pause, investigate, and take your time. Love should never be rushed. Love should come out natural. It should be a natural process. Two people getting to know each other should be a natural process. If somebody is rushing it, that's a red flag. If somebody is trying to manipulate it and get money involved, that's a red flag. If something does not sound okay, please walk away. Question it. Have the courage to ask difficult questions. Be bold enough to question the person who's trying to rush you into a relationship. And if it doesn't feel right, and if your intuition says it's not okay, something it doesn't add up, something seems off, walk away. Walk away and do not ever, look back. Trust your gut feeling, trust your intuition. That's the biggest mistake I made. I did not trust my intuition. My intuition kept telling me over and over again. And I just wanted to silence it and believe in love.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And also, I highly recommend as well. It's not because we are coach, but I highly recommend if you want a quality, serious relationship, maybe get into a relationship coach first. And the reason I said that is all about finding your own value first. When you know how to value yourself, let's just say with Shama at that time, she didn't have a coach or whatever, how she value herself is a bit low. So you will attract people the same level. So this is why I recommended to go to see a coach first. You need to elevate and understand your worth, your value. When you put it higher, you will only attract people from the same level, and you wouldn't negotiate for anything lower than that. And you just know when you're clear about your value, your worth. And it doesn't have to be me or Shama, but I highly recommend Shama. I'm going to share her details, her business. She's the best person to talk to because she can share all this. She can come in, where does it come from a low self-worth, and now she come out from her other side. She's so strong. She set her boundary, and it's very inspiring, her story. So yes, if anyone interested in asking any question between relationship or some guidance or something, please comment below. We would love to connect with you, and we would love to help you or check out like our free discovery course, just to understand the field. I really think it's the really good investment, because a lot of people don't see much in coaching because it's all in here. But because it's all in here, it's control everything of your life. Some people, they rather buy clothes, they rather buy bags, because they don't see the quality of the coaching, but it is transforming you. I know it's not cheap, but to me, it's the best investment. To change my mindset, I change everything else in my life as well. Yeah, so Salma, moving to another questions. If you can, maybe just tell, you already shared some about with red flags, like, involved with money. Is maybe if you can help me to share, beside involved with money, maybe another 2 things that you look out at the beginning, especially from the dating website, like what would you think is another 2 red flags, if you can come up for me, or just even one?
What I would suggest or recommend is, I think, in my opinion, just like you mentioned, Leela, and I would completely 100% agree with you, you need to invest. We all need to invest in ourselves. If you invest in self-care, self-love, self-compassion, I mean, I'm not saying that dating websites are not. There are plenty of people I know who have met on different dating sites, and they're very happily married. Not everybody on the dating site is an imposter. Not everybody on the dating site is a fraud. not everybody is out there to scam you. There are some genuine people who are looking for genuine love. So be smart, be active, be questionable, do some research, investigate. If you are interested in somebody, allow that flow to fall naturally. Don't rush into relationships. If you would want to proceed with somebody, if you find a match, if you feel like you want to go, move further with that person, allow yourself to investigate about that person. Allow yourself to know that person very well before you even take any step further. Allow yourself to find out as much as you can about that person, and allow that relationship to fall naturally. Like I said before, love should not be rushed. Love should be a natural process. It's love is like nurturing. It's supposed to be nurturing. It's supposed to be a connection where two people feel safe, two people feel comfortable with each other. And when something does not feel that way, then that's a red flag. It's a red flag for sure. You have to question it. And please, when you do question it, feel free to like be bold enough to ask difficult questions, because that's the only way you're gonna find out if this person is real or fake. If you don't, which I didn't do it, I was such an amateur. I did not, do my research. I didn't investigate. I just continued with whatever I felt was right. And that's
Mm,
where I made the mistake. So I learned my lesson. It took me forever to get out of this experience, this horrible experience. And here
mm.
I am today speaking very, very boldly about my experience only because I recovered, I healed, I transformed after I joined the school. The school literally, like, I was able to reclaim my voice once I joined the JSHD certification school. The school allowed me the space. It allowed me to be vulnerable. It allowed me to cry. It allowed me to journal. It allowed me to, like, come to like in terms of like my inner child. I had to like literally like become friends with my inner child in order for me to let go of this feelings that I was holding on to for so long. I felt like the experience had shattered me so much, and I wanted to move on into with my life, and I wanted to believe in love again. I wanted to believe that if I could give so much love to the wrong person, imagine how much more can I give to the person who, when the right person comes along. It took me a very long time to cope with this. I spent numerous unlimited nights crying. I spent unlimited days and nights praying, asking for forgiveness. I had to like be gentle to myself at some point. I had to calm my inner child down, the cruel inner child that kept coming up and always reminding me that I was dumb, I was stupid. How did I not see all these things coming? I had to like be gentle and polite and compassionate to myself. I had to allow myself to heal. And in order for me to heal, I had to allow myself to be more compassionate. I had to like allow myself to focus on self love and self compassion. And by focusing on self love and some self compassion, I mean, I had to like take time out and like affirmation said for me. I would wake up in the morning and I would look at myself in the mirror and I would repeat and say, I am whole, I'm complete, and I'm resourceful. I'm resourceful. I This incident cannot define me. I cannot be defined by what happened to me. What happened to me was my luck. It was not planned. It happened. And this could have been anybody. But I have to be kind to myself in order for me to heal. I had to remind myself every single day. My affirmation was every single day I woke up, I had to remind myself, you are whole, you are complete, you're resourceful. You are not somebody that this incident is going to define. You do not need anybody's validation. You do not need anybody to define you. You are who you are. You have to take control of your life from this point forward. And you have to get out of this and you have to heal. You have to transform and you have to evolve. And I
Mm.
did. I did all of that. And I came out way stronger, way wiser, and way more compassionate. I understood the importance of relationships. I understood the importance of being what self care is. I understood how much I needed to spend time on myself to understand how much I needed to learn how to love myself first. before I could love anyone else. And that's what I failed to do. I was so busy building my career that I never paid attention that I needed to love myself first in order to love somebody else. And if I don't love myself, I'm never going to be able to love anybody. And like how you taught me, Lena, during our coaching sessions, which literally like got stuck to my head, and I can never, and I've been using this analogy in every single coaching session of mine, and I repeat it over and over again. And I would love to share this with the audience today. That not if your cup is not filled, you cannot pour into someone else's cup. In order for
Mm.
you to be able to fill someone else's cup, your cup has to be filled. If your cup is broken and if it's not filled, you can't pour into anyone. If your cup has no love,
Correct.
no compassion, no self love, none of that, you cannot pour any of that to someone else's cup or to someone else's life. And that analogy has changed my life completely. I have learned to understand that I need to love myself first and I need to prioritize myself first. I am my love. I have to love myself. And in order for me to love somebody else, I need to love me. I need to prioritize me. I need to understand me. What does Salma want? What does Salma want to do today? What will Salma do today to please herself? What is one thing Salma will do when she wakes up this morning that's gonna make her happy? Before I even start thinking about anybody else. So those are things that kind of like shed some light into my life, which transformed me and got me out of this whole, horrible experience into now a person who can come out and speak in public about what had happened in her life in the past 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Mm.
I wasn't this person 7 years ago. I was at the very bottom of my life when this incident happened. And I would have never evolved. I would have never evolved if I had not, like started asking for help. And when you feel stuck, and if you have doubts in your mind, I'm sure everybody has a BFF. Everybody has that one friend that they can confide in. Feel free to share. Feel free to be open and ask and ask for help. If you have problems in your relationship and if you feel stuck and if you have questions or doubts, ask somebody, hey, this is my situation. You don't have to tell the whole world your story. There has to be that one person you confide in, where you can have a heart to heart conversation with and say, hey, I'm dating this person. How do you feel about him or her? And that one person that you confide in at least will give you some guidance. I think we all need
Definitely.
that because
Mm.
when we start making decisions on our own without involving anybody else, sometimes, yes, we might be right 99%, but that 1% time when you think you were right, it may go wrong. So it's
Mm.
always wise to actually be able to, like, get some advice, ask for help, ask people what
Mm.
do you think about it, and do your homework, do your research, investigate about people before you fall for somebody. Because these online scams are so common now. I am one of the women who was able to speak today in front of the camera, in front of Lena, in front into the public. There are many women who don't have the opportunity to come out and speak like this, like how I do. I didn't even have the courage and the confidence 7 years ago to come out and say, hey, I became a victim of an online scam. I would have never been able to had I not joined the J. Shetty Certification School. J. Shetty Certification School has allowed me to reclaim my voice. And I'm so happy. This was the best investment, the best decision I've ever made. And this school has taught me so much. And this coaching journey has been a priceless investment for me. I am not regretting even a day of making the decision to be on this platform, to have met such amazing, beautiful souls, like-minded people like Lena and many others. This platform is just so awesome, and we are all in this world. The world is so divided today, and I think some of the reasons people don't have why we need coaches is because there's so many people with so many problems that they're not able to speak to anybody. Everybody needs a life coach. Today, if I'm
Mm.
like depressed or I'm going through a rough day, I call people, I reach out and I'm like, hey, I need to talk, I need to let this out. Everybody needs a life coach. Everybody needs somebody to unpack, to let it out. Everybody needs an outlet where they can let things out, because if we don't, that's when things start building up. We start creating a bubble around ourselves, and that's when we fall into these traps. We get into
Yeah.
trouble. We get to, like, we end up meeting the wrong people. We end up like making mistakes in our life. So if you can invest, and if you think this is something, this could help you, I would highly recommend life coaching. Life coaching is an amazing thing that can I did not know the importance, the powers of life coaching until I joined the school and I was coached. And now I think I really need a life coach for myself every single day, at least once a week. I love to be coached.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Salma. I totally agree with you because there's so many things you shared, so many good points. So, I really totally agree with you regarding to a life coach. And trust me, I'm not trying to promote this. I totally understand, like, for people that don't believe in life coach, because I used to be that one type of person as well. Like, when all my friends were joining, like Tony Robbins back then come out, I was like, no, my mindset was fine. I'm totally, I don't want to, it's like coming out of a judgment place. I was coming out from a judgment place that, they are not normal. I'm totally normal. My mindset's perfect. But when I go through all this coaching and understanding about the trauma, understanding about the soul and ego, I was like, oh my God, I carry so much, I call it baggage on my shoulders, like a rubbish that does no longer serve you, or limiting belief. I carry so much limiting belief. How I see it is that if you are not where you want to be yet, there's something holding you. And you need to find out what is that holding you. You should be at where you are right now. If you don't have any trauma, if you don't have any limiting belief, if you don't have any self-doubt, shame, guilt, whatever it is. And this is why I highly recommend a coach. It doesn't have to be a coach or a spiritual, someone that knows how to regulate the emotions or see life with more truth. Because I feel that egos always try to take out of the truth. Like you said, your gut instinct, like your soul calling you, was telling you that this is something's not right, but the ego is always acting as like logic, smart, that try to take you away from the truth and say it's all fine, and like fantasy, keep you in the fantasy world. And if what happens when you don't live with truth, like if you don't own up for your truth, you're never gonna fix it. Like if you don't own up that you don't know this question and pretending that you know the question, what's going to happen? You're not going to know that question forever. And this is why living with truth is the ways to go to live a happy life, because you can fix, you can change anything. And then going through this coaching school and stuff like that, it helped you to see your true essence, your true soul is. And to me, and as I talk about my podcast with Sachin and stuff as well, I explain the difference between soul and ego, because we all have that two voices inside of us. One is coming from your heart, love, kindness, and compassion, but doesn't have much reason. And ego have so much reason. It's always play like a logic, a smart person, and always analyze the worst case scenario that stop you from doing all what you meant to achieve, what you want to do. Like Salma, before, if you were asked her 7 years ago, she would never come out because it would say there's people judge me. It's always analyze all this data that you are so smart to stay the same, to stay in this comfort zone. And as I mentioned in my awakening episode, the first episode, we are in the world of opposite. You would have thought that chasing success and failure are different, but really the truth to find the success is in the failure. For years I look at it differently. I thought there's two different worlds, and I just keep chasing for the success and I try to push away the failure. You will never get to the success if you not lean in and look into failure, because the truth is in the failure. And this is why ego is always trying to take you away, and the soul is always trying to tell you the right path to do. And the ego is always ahead of us. And this is why we need a life coach or a spiritual teacher or someone more wise, that really good at someone that you see their life and you want to be where they are. You can listen to their words, because like you said, not everyone not everyone can give you a good advice, especially if they're coming from the emotional immature. They will create more judge. So coming back to that soul or ego or listen to their gut instinct, I think going to see a coach will help you to see that answer clearer. And I like how you mentioned about inner child parenting, because with you in the past, it's all this inner child acting out. The parent role model, Salma role model, didn't show up, and she only show up later on to comfort that inner child. So, and a lot of us would think, oh, we already adult, no. Yes, we make the body as an adult, but our emotional inside is still immature. There's a lot of, if you're still triggered for little thing, if you're still angry, that is emotional immature right there, because that's not an adult behavior. And a lot of us carry that emotional immatures into adulthood. So, and this is why we need to clear it, because if you don't clear it, you pass it to your kids, you pass it to people around you without realizing it. And this has become a generational pattern and cycle. We need to learn how to break out of it to live a happy life. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's so beautiful. So many things that you mentioned, and it's just like I
I
I,
know.
I remember that. So yeah, it's so powerful. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to the Wisdom Inside Out. Stay tuned. Please follow me on this social media platform.